This will be the first big step in using casual sense to make better decisions, better use of our resources, and better lives for ourselves. Now that we've covered the basics of resources, let's talk about how to make the best use of them by improving our decision-making skills, which is the most important skill of this Casual Sense program. If you take nothing else away from this entire program, I hope that proper decision-making skills is one ability that you learn and are able to apply to your daily life. That's why decision-making is the first main topic following the introductory videos. So let's get started with what it takes to make a solid decision and why is it so important to us. The first task is actually making the conscious choice to make the decision. Even if we decide nothing, we're deciding not to make that decision. That's still a choice and that still has consequences. Let's start with the first decision almost all of us make in a day. The alarm goes off and we make a decision to hit snooze or off, and we decide whether to stay in bed or get out of bed. One choice is to shut the alarm off and stay in bed to continue sleeping. This is a passive staying decision where we're choosing not to change what we're already doing. A lot of people don't realize that this is still a decision to do nothing different, but it is. Another option is to press snooze and go back to sleep. This is an immediate passive decision, but it's not ignoring the decision. It's accepting that the decision has to be made, but we're going to delay it 10 minutes until the alarm goes off again. In this case, when we hit snooze, we have probably accepted that we do have to get out of bed and change our state. What we're doing with the 10-minute snooze is we're delaying the action of acting on that decision and getting up. In other cases, we're delaying the decision itself. Let's say we're in a situation, whether it be a job or a relationship, and we're debating in our head whether or not to leave and go do something different. Because these types of decisions have a major impact in our life, a lot of us tend to delay the decision until we think about it more. But again, we're making the decision not to decide, and we're doing a passive stay and not changing our current situation when we do this. The third option would be to shut off the alarm and get out of bed. That would be an active decision to change our current state from being in bed sleeping to getting up and starting our day. As you can see from this one example, our entire day is filled with potential for decisions to stay, to delay, or to change our current state. So why are decisions so important and how do they affect our lives? Let's go back to the decision of whether to stay with our current employer or to change jobs. There are two potential outcomes to this decision. One, we stay where we are. Two, we change the job. One of these outcomes is going to end up better for us than the other outcome. Very few decisions have no bearing or a neutral effect on our lives. Every crossroad has a better outcome and a not as good outcome. Even simple things like the kind of food we choose to eat or the kind of music we choose to listen to, one of those outcomes is going to result in us being happier than the other. If we make no decision or we just keep delaying the decisions, then we are completely at the mercy of random occurrence. And that means that every one of these crossroads, we only have a 50% chance of the outcome being the more favorable one for us as opposed to the less favorable one. Let's say at the end of a day, the quality of our day and how we feel about it is a result of all these individual decision points. And so if we happen to have a day where by poor luck and poor choices, everything ends up red that day, then the quality of our day at the end of it is very poor. And that's how we feel at the end of that day. In contrast, if we have a great day because by good luck and good choices, everything ends up green for the day, and we have a great day, and this is how we feel at the end of it, then that's the complete opposite. And if we make no choices in a day and just let the world happen to us, then we end up somewhere out here in the middle with a basic split of red and green outcomes. We're not always going to make the perfect choices, but by thinking and proactively making these decisions, we're going to have a lot better chance of having a great day because the odds are that we will make better choices than just randomly letting things happen to us. Let's say we even hit 75% success rate in our decisions we make in a day. That's still a whole lot better day than just playing the odds and ended up at kind of a middle of the road. And we all know at the end of a day what it feels like if we've had a great day or a meh day or a not so great day. We know what that feels like. Think about the impact in how we feel at the end of one of those days. Now compound that into a week, a month. Think of all the decision points that go into a year. Now think about for your whole life. This is a big deal that you have the control to make these decisions, to make that life so much better than just letting life happen to you, but actively living and actively making these choices. Plus, the more decisions you make in life proactively, the better you get at making those decisions. So now maybe your 75% goes to 80%. And then on top of that, as you're gaining these experiences, successes, and failures alike, you're learning more and you're taking those life experiences into your toolbox to make even better decisions and a better life for yourself. It's not just the decision making itself like we've been discussing in these examples. It's the skills you develop for the overall process. The more skills you help to learn in the process, the more confidence you'll build in your ability to be able to more quickly make the decision, trust yourself, trust your process, and act on the decision. Another step is to really decide what is it you're trying to decide? What are the real options? For the job example, are you deciding whether to stay at the job versus quit? Are you deciding whether to look for a new job versus not look for a new job? Do you have another offer? And maybe you're trying to decide, do I stay where I am or do I take the new offer? Each of these is a very different decision to make. Since most of us need a job, it's probably unlikely that we're making the decision whether to stay or to become unemployed. However, how does this change if it's a relationship we're thinking about changing or leaving versus a job? A relationship isn't a necessity of life, so that's more likely to have a stay versus go than the job decision would be. When it comes time to decide, often people get stuck in analysis paralysis, which means we think so much that we're stuck, we just cannot do anything. We're afraid to step forward because we're really afraid of rocking the proverbial boat. Obviously, each decision is unique, and some of them do carry a very severe risk in the event of the wrong choice being made. And for those kind of decisions, yes, we do want to put the thought and the effort into researching the situation as much as we can and educating ourselves to make the best decision possible because there's so much riding on that choice. But not all decisions have to be that drawn out. Here's an example of a very low severity decision where it's better to make any choice versus no choice. In front of me are 3 cups. Let's say that I need to find out where the ball is hidden. With these 3 options, most people can figure out the ball is not under this glass because we can see that. So that's an easy one. As far as the other 2, we could sit here and think for days about where it might be and think of a whole bunch of reasons why it could be in one versus the other. But ultimately, during that time of thinking, we're not accomplishing anything. We're still right where we are, stuck. If the goal is to find the right answer, sometimes eliminating the wrong answers is the easiest way to get to the right answer. And this is one of those cases. So we've eliminated this wrong answer. If we just guess between the 2 that are left, we may find it and then we've successfully found the right answer, or we may guess wrong, and even though we failed in that guess, we've eliminated the 2 wrong answers, and by elimination of the wrong answers, that leaves us with the right answer. And sometimes life's choices are like this, where it's better to just start down some path, and even if you fail down that path, at least you've learned something, sometimes which not to do, but you've learned something And that is a step towards finding the right answer. Never underestimate the simple beauty of Gordian knot style decision making. And you always have the freedom of choice. Even if someone has a gun pointed at your head, you can tell them to whatever, and you may have consequences, but you always have that power of choice. This is why making deliberate decisions is so impactful to the quality of your life and your overall happiness in your life. The more control we take to actively decide the outcome of these little events in our lives, the less possibility that random events will provide us an unfavorable outcome, and the more conscious decisions we will make to better the outcomes, better our lives, improve our happiness, and leave a lot less to chance. If you haven't done so already, please click on the link below to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell for notifications to let you know when new videos are posted. You can check out the YCC store, see if there's any merch you like. Let's use some casual sense and live for today.